What's up, Fumble fam? I'm Brooke.
And I'm Noelle, and you're listening to Girls Don't Fumble, the #1 sports podcast for NFL Girl Talk.
We sift through all the football news so you don't have to.
Let's get into it.
Hey guys, welcome back to Girls Don't Fumble. We're so happy you're here. Noelle, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday, right?
It is Tuesday, August 20th.
Yeah.
Stick around us.
Normally we record on so many different days. It's hard to keep track.
We're all over the place.
Yes, but we're doing a Twilight episode tonight.
As usual.
The sun is down.
9 p.m. is on us once again.
Yes.
So if you guys notice that we're a little tired, Delulu, that's why.
Yes, and we have work bright and early tomorrow. What
As
time will
always.
we be at the office?
9 a.m.
Right.
Be a record for me.
Yeah. But entering the week with positivity, lots of love. So far,
I love that.
so far, so good.
Yeah, positive intentions, treating each other with kindness, being thankful for what we have and who we're surrounded by.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Totally. Hug your neighbor today.
Hug your neighbor. Exactly.
On that note of positivity and loving and supporting women, I did want to open up the episode by thanking a fan. I'm just kidding. A fumbler, a fellow YouTuber who commented something very sweet on our last YouTube video. And it was just really nice. We wanted to share it. I'll read the comment. It's just like a user and then like a bunch of letters and numbers. Otherwise, I would say the name. But it says, "Good to see more women. I support you ladies 100%. Heart, heart, heart. You two are fabulous and knowledgeable. Much love and mad respect." So sweet.
So nice.
When I first read this, I was like, okay, was that my mom? Because that sounds exactly like how my mom addresses everything that we do. It's like, you guys are so funny. You're so knowledgeable. And I was
Yeah.
like, Mom, did you make a new YouTube account? Which is possible.
Yeah.
But I want to say I don't think this was her.
Yeah.
And if this was just a random woman who's supporting us, that makes me so happy.
And I just hope that they stand up and say that they are a real person, because we're going to be posting a lot more content and we need that kind of positivity to keep us on the right track and keep us moving forward. Because comments like that, it only pushes us that much further. So thank you so much, user XYZ123.
They're C12PQ7EP6P. We love you.
That's like Elon Musk's son.
That's funny. It is. Naming my baby after you, user CI2PQ7. And then
Thank
there
you.
was one other comment that says, "Bricked up right now."
Love that.
And that's also positive.
Yeah, we'll take those comments. I
So
mean,
thank you for that too.
love that you're getting a little randy.
If you are watching our videos and you're feeling positive in any way,
Stand
let us
up.
know. Stand up. Raise your hand. And you put that into words. We will take all of it. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Thank you so much.
Don't forget to like and subscribe while you're at it.
Love that. Oh my gosh. We need more of those.
We do.
Yes.
Please let us know how you're feeling. But unless it's negative, keep that shit to yourself.
Yeah, none of that.
Don't make us
please.
cry.
Yeah, we will.
But keeping up with just the positivity, starting this episode off on a high note, I have some good news, and that is that our king, Justin Herbert, has returned to practice as of Monday night. Woo!
Cheers.
Cheers.
The cheers
More
sound.
applause. Wow. Justin.
We're so happy to see him back on the fields.
Let me tell you, I already was devastated that he was injured, and then having to watch Easton Stick throw the ball around the field for the last 2 preseason games. My God, we could not need Justin more. So he has been out with plantar fasciitis. I swear it still sounds like a made up illness, but apparently it's really painful and really similar to tendonitis. And he's been out, I think, since the very end of July, hurt his foot during practice, has been wearing a boot at the games. I was keeping a special eye on him with my actual 2 eyes on the sidelines. He was booted up, and now he's returned to practice. I think still in a limited capacity. I don't think we expect to see him in the game this weekend, but
Okay.
hopefully for the actual game 1 against the Raiders, our season opener, he'll be back. But super excited and couldn't be more thrilled.
I mean, that's such exciting news. He is the star. He is the bright light of the Chargers. I mean, when you see injuries, especially with quarterbacks, I mean, the energy just shifts with the head coaches, with the players. So to have him back on the field, I'm sure that they're going to take all of that energy and really like bring that into week 1 against the Raiders. And we know that that's a rivalry. You have on the other side of the field, starting quarterback Gardner Minshew, who just became the starting quarterback for the Raiders. So it's going to be a fun game to watch. And hopefully that won't get re-aggravated, that injury. Fingers crossed. We know how our injury-prone boys could be.
I know. I was like, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yes. I mean, to even think that he was in a boot a week ago and now he's just going to be back on the field playing.
I know, I'm nervous.
Do you think that he's going to be doing like no contact for a minute as he's practicing? Do we know or?
I mean, I feel like I would hope so.
Yeah.
It's funny. Whenever you say no contact, I just think like we're talking about like an ex-boyfriend. Like I can't take that seriously in a football sense. Like no contact with who? What's the drama?
No contact.
I mean, I assume so since I don't think they're doing any joint practices. I could be wrong, but if they're just practicing against their own guys, like how dare one of you try to injure that man? I'm not sure. But I do think they are taking the precautions of having him sit out the next preseason game against the Cowboys. Obviously, super tough team. So he will not be playing against them. And I know we were talking about this earlier, just like a funny media moment was they were interviewing Jim Harbaugh, the new coach of the Chargers, who is just like such a funny guy. Like he's always saying something that no other head coaches would say. Like he was the one who's living in an RV before the season started just to get like a fun experience. Like this man is so wacky and everyone loves his personality so much. And he said when Justin Herbert returned to practice, it was as if music was playing and angels were singing. And I was
literally
like,
same.
Relatable king.
He's such like I don't want to say average guy, but he's so approachable. And like the fact that he was in an RV right before the start of training camp.
He's like humble.
Yeah, he's a humble king. And not only that, I've seen some videos kind of leading up to some of these preseason games and he's like out on the field in cleats with gloves on. He's catching balls, he's throwing them. So he's one of the guys. He's one of the players. Put him in.
Literally that's what the Instagram comments have been saying, like because we have a really young wide receiver room and it's like I've seen enough. He's made one catch, put him in.
Yep.
Get those
good
gloves
enough.
on the field. Yeah.
Let's get him that contract.
He'll do like all the workouts with the players and stuff. And I do think that is why all of his ex-players have such good things to say about him because like he'll run all the drills with them. He's not asking them to do anything that he wouldn't do.
Yeah.
And so I think that's how he builds such great culture, camaraderie, respect from the people that play for him. So I am, again, so excited for the Chargers this season. We got our coach, we got our dream man, and now Justin Herbert is healthy again. So dare I say, excited for week 1.
Week 1 and the rest of the season.
Hopefully the excitement doesn't just last for week 1. You're right. Excited for the Super Bowl this year.
And as you all know, Brooke will be at pretty much every single Chargers game this season. So hopefully all of those games that are at home, you'll get to see Mr. Herbert out on the field. I got some good news today.
I was going to say, we have one more piece of good news. Let's share.
So I will be attending the Chargers-Bengals game. I believe it's November 17th. Mm-hmm. As you all know, Brooke and I work together, and our company just, Subtle Flex has a suite at SoFi.
Low-key humble brag. We're rich.
I'm going to that game, obviously, because my allegiance is to the Bengals, and I'm so excited. Brooke and I had the pleasure of going last year for the Patriots game, Patriots-Rams. I'm sorry. Steelers. I was thinking Pittsburgh Steelers and the Rams. And it's such a fun environment. And I mean, I'll probably never get a sweet experience
after this. Yeah. Definitely not paying for it with our own money.
Definitely won't be able to pay for it on our own, but we're definitely going to link up and hopefully we'll have some exciting content for you all.
Yeah. How are you feeling that you're going to be able to see Joey B in the flesh that close? How do you think you're going to react?
I'm hoping he could make it to that week as well.
No, stop. He's going to make it.
So there have been some videos circulating of him at training camp. This was maybe a few days ago. And there were some questions. There were some zoom-ins of him taking out a glove. And him speaking to other players, and he's kind of flinching his throwing hand a little bit, which is something that he did kind of earlier before he got injured. So I'm hoping it's nothing. I think that the Bengals and the Colts have a joint practice today, and I saw a few key takeaways, and they said that he was looking good down the field. So, I mean, that's the extent of what I've seen so far. So I'm hoping that we'll see him alive and well. I'm not sure week that is. He will be alive.
What would you do if when you were cheering in the suite, you guys locked eyes? And he okay, let me just paint a little picture. So let's say it's like the fourth quarter. It's a really close game. And, the Bengals fans are going crazy. The Chargers fans are going crazy. Joey B's had a really good game, but it's been super close. And then he is throwing a pass down the field, and we're looking at it, we're like, wow, that looks like it's headed towards our suite. But no, at the last minute, it goes right into the end zone because our suite is really close to the end zone.
Yeah.
And then Jamar Chase grabs it out of the air. It's a touchdown.
Yeah.
And Joey B is so excited. He's jumping up and down. He's in the end zone. He's doing a little touchdown dance with Jamar. And then you're, of course, screaming. You're in full Bengals attire. He looks up and he waves. He winks.
Yeah.
And he blows a kiss.
What would I do?
Yeah.
Pass out.
Noelle is no longer alive and well.
Joey B may be alive and well. Noelle is not.
Check on Noelle. She has passed away at the game.
The thing is, my toxic brain thinks that maybe that's possible.
The thing is, and again, not us being annoying about the suite, but it's really close to the end zone. If they do score a touchdown, on that side of the field, we're really close to the players.
We are really close. And that would be amazing. I think in my shirt, I'll do a brat green, so it's very neon, and it'll catch the eye.
Yeah.
But then I'll wear either a hat, jacket of the sort, so he knows.
Yes. What about a poster, with your phone number on it?
Okay, that's desperate.
Sorry, we're not that desperate.
All that to say, we're excited to see our boys out on the field. Oh my gosh. Can't wait.
Hopefully we don't get in a fight that day because our teams are playing and we're both very passionate, but we'll put it aside for the good of Girls Don't Fumble, and we'll try to 100%. Get some cute content that day.
Yeah. I mean, it's always a different story when you have, people that you're friends with who, if it's the Super Bowl and it's a big game, I don't know, you put it aside somewhat. Maybe not the Super Bowl. Yeah. Maybe not the Super Bowl.
At least we would never be against each other in the Super Bowl as two AFC teams. So we won't have to worry about that.
Exactly. I feel for games like that, it's you're probably in the zone. But for this, it's going to be all for the love of the sport and for our boys and for the teams.
It's big of us.
Speak the truth.
We love to see it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so should we get into today's episode?
Yes, let's get into the topics for today. So as you guys may have been noticing with our episode themes, we've been talking a lot about the quarterbacks, a lot about the offseason storyline. So this week we wanted to give some love to another part of the team, a huge part of the team, which is the wide receivers. And there are a few contracts that are still up in the air for very key players for their, respective teams. And it has a lot of fans really stressed out. We are 2 weeks away from the season starting, and training camp's been happening, the preseason games have been happening, and these players are MIA. They are not signing their contracts, and it has a lot of fans very worried that their teams are going to look a lot different on week one if these guys don't sign. So we're going to talk about who these guys are, why their contracts are getting held up, and why this is a big conversation. I'm going to talk about 3 guys today. So Noelle, want to get us started?
Yes, we're going to be starting off with, we're going to be starting out with Brandon Aiyuk. But before I do, I feel it is important to just kind of not necessarily set the scene, but put this in context that our general listeners can understand. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to NFL contracts, I think number one, they're just messy in general. There's a lot of complexities to it. And the way that I kind of see this is when you're at a job and you want to get promoted,
Relatable.
On one hand, On one hand, you have the candidate or the employer. They want to get paid more. They have achieved XYZ and they're saying, hey, employer, I did all these things. You need to pay up.
I'm better at my job. I deserve more money.
On the other hand, the employer is a business and they want to make a profit and they want to pay as little as possible, but while still keeping that employee happy without leaving. So
and they want to have enough money to pay for other star talent on their team.
Exactly. So in a sense, you can think of it as these players are wanting to get a promotion. And obviously these promotions are well above the amount of money that we make. So the complexities the list goes on and on. But I think that when we talk about each of these three players, something that is really important to kind of talk about for wide receivers is that the market is changing quite a bit. Outside of quarterbacks, I would say wide receivers are probably the most highly paid across all other positions. Dare I say, outside of the quarterback, they're probably like the next in kin star on the team.
I would agree.
So over the past few years, we've been seeing a lot of $100 million multiple year contracts from people like Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown, Devontae Adams. And I think the peak really hit this season with Justin Jefferson. His contract, he's the highest paid non-quarterback in the league, was $140 million, getting paid $35 million a year. I forget if it's 3 or 4 years, but I think now to set the scene for all of these players that we're going to be talking about, all of them want to make generally about the same.
Yep.
So there's a lot to discuss there. A lot of them are kind of holding out because they think that their value is just as much as Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. And it's really cool too, just how kind of the contracts and the caps for how high these different positions are paid changes each year. So with Justin Jefferson signing that historic deal and now becoming the highest paid non-quarterback, you know, not only is that exciting for him, but then all the other wide receivers, they're like, that's funny because that's not how much I'm making. So now I can go negotiate and I have, you know, a comp to show like, look, here's how much he's making. I deserve this too.
Yep.
So it's, you know, it'd be great for any other type of like company where we want equality of wages and men and women to make the same. These men are already making so much money. It's giving a little greedy, but like we'll get into it. But it is interesting just to see how it continues to change with every big contract that happens. It's like, okay, then everyone else in that same position field who also is really, really good and knows their team would be fucked without them is like, how much money can I get out of them?
Exactly. It's all about how they performed. And while these players are going into their renegotiations, they have leverage because they know that without them, they're not making it to the Super Bowl in most of these cases, I would say. I would say pretty much all of them, but they're really just honing in on the fact that I'm worth more than what I'm being paid right now. So you're going to need to pay up or else I'm going to leave. So lots to talk about here. Let's dive into Brandon Aiyuk. And for those of you who don't know, he's a wide receiver on the 49ers. A lot of these conversations around his contract started, I want to say like the day after the Super Bowl or the day of after they unfortunately lost to the Chiefs. There was an interviewer who was asking, do you think that you'll be on this team next year? And he straight up said, whatever is right. And something like really vague and kind of ominous.
Like not, yes.
Yes.
Can't wait.
I want to be here. So there's been a lot of conversations, a lot has unfolded since then. To kind of go through the timeline a little bit, there were a few, what is it called? Like Easter eggs. What are they called?
Yeah, Easter eggs. Yeah.
There were a few Easter eggs that he's been dropping kind of throughout the summer. One of them being he tweeted to Mike Tomlin on the Steelers, who's the head coach. He said, people think we're twins. What do you think? And it was a side-by-side of him and Mike Tomlin. So a lot of people were like, oh, he's going to be, Steelers fan. He's coming. Fast forward to now, Steelers are in the conversation to, they're trying to request a trade with him. But some other things happened. His previous teammate, Jaden Daniels, who we've talked about a lot on this podcast, he's the starting quarterback for the Commanders. Now, he's been either TikToking and making some social posts of him basically like on the phone with Jaden Daniels saying like, oh, the Niners, they don't want me. They don't want me. Just straight out saying that.
Stop.
And then he like tweeted or posted a photo of him watching tape of Jaden Daniels at Commanders practice. So he's just kind of all over the place. He's messy. He unfollowed the 49ers at some point over the summer. So come July 16th, he finally requests for a trade with the 49ers. And when we look at his value in compared to all the wide receivers, he did finally hit that 1,000 yards receiving threshold. I feel like if you are a star receiver and you're kind of looked out in a positive light in the wide receiver room, you've hit above 100 yards or 1,000 yards in the regular season. Last year was his first time he did that. He hit 1,342 yards in the regular season for the 49ers, and he was the leader on the 49ers for receiving yards, which is great. And this is all part of his kind of like package, how he performed. All of this is part of his renegotiation for his deal. So to give you some background, he was drafted 25th overall in the first round in 2020. So his rookie contract, 4 years, about $12 million. Right now, he's entering his last year on his rookie contract. Oh no, my laptop's gonna die. And for this last year, he is slated to hit about $14 million on that 5th year rookie deal. Now, looking around the room, he's seeing players like Justin Jefferson getting paid $35 million in a year. And when you see Brandon Aiyuk, who helped bring the 49ers to the Super Bowl, I think that he has, a lot of factors that he thinks that he's worth, upwards of north of like 30 million. That's kind of what he's asking for. Now, there's been a few teams that have been in the trade conversation. Patriots being one of them, the Steelers, as we talked about, and the Cleveland Browns. Now, when we look at the overall package for the Patriots and the Cleveland Browns, they both offered over $30 million, but he ultimately declined. And reasons are a little hazy and a little unknown, but overall, I think it honestly is because he wants to stay a 49er, at least to my knowledge. But also, he grew up West Coast boy. He went to ASU. He grew up in like Reno, Northern California area. He's not used to the snow.
He's like, I don't know.
They kind of met his financial expectations. I think ultimately the full package is, I don't want to go there. In comes the Steelers. We heard about 2 days ago that the Steelers offered him somewhere near about 27 to 28 million. Okay. Now, what makes this interesting is he didn't take that trade, which makes us all think that the 49ers, that was probably about the ballpark of what they were planning on paying Aiyuk. So there's still a lot hanging in the air with Brandon Aiyuk at the moment. He hasn't made a decision. I feel like the clock is ticking. When we look around the room at the 49ers, they just paid Nick Bosa a fair amount of money. They paid Deebo Samuel a ton. So I'm sure that they're kind of like strapped for cash right now. But ultimately, Brandon has a big decision to make. Do you stay with a team where you know the offense, where you don't need to learn a new playbook? You are a West Coast boy. You don't have to adapt to a new climate where it's freezing and cold in Cleveland or in New England? Or do you get paid and you have to start on a brand new offense with quarterbacks that are kind of questionable, offenses that you can't quite trust? They're still figuring things out in those locker rooms. So there's a lot to pick on with this one. And again, everybody's just kind of like waiting to see what he ultimately decides. He's been kind of harping on this hold in strategy, which a lot of players are doing right now, which is ultimately they're going to practices, they're going to training camps, but they're not participating in them. So the benefit of doing that is they don't have to pay the fines. So they're kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out at the moment, which is smart. And again, they have the leverage and they're saying that they're going to like stand firm on stand on business, if you will. So we're all kind of waiting to see, but this, I want to say, has been going on all summer, and everybody's just waiting on what Brandon Aiyuk is going to do.
Oh, that's so interesting. And I feel like the big elephant in the room too for him is just, the 49ers got so close last year. They've been looking so solid these last few years. He probably also wants to win a Super Bowl in his career.
Exactly.
And I wonder if he thinks, could this be our year if I stay? And is that worth more than a few $1 million to me and my contract and moving and uplifting my life and everything, like you said? Like all these players, they want to get paid, but they also want to win. And all of the other teams kind of not that they're bad teams, but I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders in the way that the 49ers are this next season.
Yep.
So that is probably also something that is keeping him close to home of not wanting to go through changing all of those things, but also he knows that those guys are maybe his best shot at getting that ring in his career.
Totally.
So if I had to guess, I feel like he's staying with the 49ers just because, like you said, he's turned down the money from other places. But it'll be really interesting if he doesn't. I know a lot of other teams will be really excited to get him. So
I know. And
we'll see.
If he were to go to the Steelers, then he would be like wide receiver one, And on the 49ers, yes, they are in the best position to go back to the Super Bowl. If you were to compare to the other three, I would say that that are in contention to get him. But at the same time, it's a benefit for Brandon Aiyuk to stay in that room because you have Kyle Shanahan, you have George Kittle, you have Deebo Samuel, you have so many well-rounded, developed players, and it's because, dare I say, of Kyle Shanahan and the team and the environment that they built there. So we'll see. Exciting one to learn about, to be honest. But
yeah, I love all that background.
Yeah,
and I love that he's posting TikToks. Like these men are so
I think
messy.
he deleted it. But
that's funny. He probably got so much backlash. Like you can't do that. And we'll talk about this with the next guy too. But it's just so funny. Like watching these guys play football on the big screens, and all these like old men and women like are watching them and cheering for them and making the fantasy teams and planning their whole falls and winters around them. You forget how young these people are, and the fact that it's like, wait, how could someone who's so rich and so famous and so talented be posting all these messy TikToks? Oh, because he's 24 years old.
Yeah,
like that's
he's
how.
Straight up Gen Z, right in the middle. He's not on the cusp. They are Gen Z.
So it makes sense why they'd be a little messy on social media, because they got all this money, they got a little fame hungry, and they said, let me see what happens if I post this messy TikTok, and they're getting attention for it. And I just think it's funny.
Exactly.
Keeps football entertaining.
Oh, 100%. This is like the drama that we like to talk about. So
exactly.
I mean, contracts are not fun to read.
No, we're not. I mean, to be clear, we're not reading them, are we?
No.
Okay.
No, exactly. But that's why we report on the social media posts.
The juicy part, the results of the contracts.
And then we sprinkle in some some
numbers,
here's some
here and
numbers.
Yeah, that we read via Google.
Exactly. Well, tell us about
our next boy.
Next Gen Zer. He's Gen Z?
Yeah, he's Gen Z.
They're
He's 25. These are young men. We are talking about CeeDee Lamb of the Cowboys. So he is another absolute star wide receiver. He has not signed his contract extension. His fans are very nervous. So he's been with the Cowboys since they drafted him first round back in 2020. And this is also the last year of his contract. So he's looking for that extension. He also, another reason that he's really pushing for more money right now, not only is he just like one of the best wide receivers in the league, but he also had the best year of his career last year. So he led the NFL with 135 receptions of 179 targets, racked up over 1,700 yards, which I know you mentioned getting into the thousands club is exciting. He's almost breaking 2,000 just last year alone.
That's awesome.
He scored 12 touchdowns and had an average of 13 yards per reception, which is so strong. He's such a great player. And kind of like you talked about with the promotion cycles, like, hey, I just had the best year of my career. This is when I will have the most leverage to be talking to you about how much money I'm going to make. Like, he's healthy, he's young, he's a difference maker. I think it's valid that he's looking for more money. He also is a 3-time Pro Bowler. So the Cowboys know that they have a gem on their hands. But he also has been one who is not shy about starting drama on social media. And some of the stuff he's doing, I don't think we've ever seen it before when it comes to how NFL players have been kind of navigating this. I mean, I don't think we've seen the TikTok stuff before, but we've seen the whole, like, they'll unfollow their team, they'll make that known, they'll kind of be a little bit like sketch about that. One thing that was interesting, this was a tweet from August 8th. So a couple weeks ago now, there's a reporter that tweeted, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones on contract talks with CeeDee Lamb. Quote, I don't have any urgency to get it done. So earlier this August, we are not urgent at all about making that contract happen, which obviously is not good for CeeDee Lamb. What does he do? Quotes the tweet and just says, lol. Just quote, LOL, all lowercase, LOL, period.
Oh.
And so people are not like, and he's laughing about the fact that his GM has no urgency to sign his contract. He said, that's funny. I see you. And I just think that was super funny and super shady. Got everybody talking. So that was a couple weeks ago. And then earlier this week, just a couple days ago, he posts on his Instagram story a photo of Spider-Man from Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire. And it's not, the cute red Spider-Man that we love to see. It's the black Spider-Man where it's like his black suit, which
Dangerous.
I think, I'm not really like a Spider-Man fan, but from what I've heard, it's kind of like a little like evil possessed
Like the
Spider-Man.
villain Spider-Man, yeah.
Like, it's not good. It's not happy-go-lucky, friendly, good to see a Spider-Man.
It's not where they're all looking at each other.
Yeah, it's not one of
the finger guns.
Yeah, that's what I would thought when I first looked. It's like, he was like posting Spider-Man. Maybe he posted that meme with all 3 Spider-Mans. No. He posted Tobey Maguire in the black Spider-Man costume, which had a lot of fans talking and speculating. So this could mean a few things. Number one, I think people's immediate reactions, and there's no caption, there's nothing. It's just on his Instagram story, just the Spider-Man. So this could mean, one, that he's entering his villain era and he is prepared to be very, rude, maybe leave the team, maybe be like, I'm calling you guys on your bluff. You're not paying me enough. I'm going to go. So that has fans worried that he's pissed off. He's leaving. Another option, people are saying, okay, maybe this means that the contract is signed and he's talking about how he's ready to come back to the NFL. He's getting paid more. He's got that renewed contract. He's feeling good. He's ready to go out there and just get nasty and be the best wide receiver that we know him to be. So it complete opposites. Yeah. Either he hates the Cowboys and he said, fuck you guys, I'm gonna go play for someone else, or he signed the contract and he's ready to say fuck you to all the other teams. Again, this is why these cryptic tweets get everyone talking. They know what they're doing with this.
Totally.
And it could go either way. We don't know.
And I feel like when they go to social media, it only helps their case more if they haven't gotten a contract signed, because if the general public is pressuring Jerry Jones, the owners, to pay them,
lock him up,
I'm sure that it's adding more stress and just making that timeline even shorter. So they're not going to be messing around, waiting until next year or whatever their original timeline was. It's going to shorten that as it's in the news more, because it's only going to cause more drama. Yeah. And no team, no owner wants to be made to look. Maybe some of them don't give a fuck. Who knows? But as a player, I'm sure it helps their case a lot.
Yeah.
But CeeDee Lamb is out there just laughing, but he's going to be laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah,
honestly.
He's going to get paid. No, that's the thing too. And the fact that he is just saying straight up lol at the GM is insane. He does not give a single fuck.
He doesn't.
So he is ready to get his paycheck. He knows they need him. He's not, he hasn't been playing the preseason games, obviously. He's waiting for that contract to get signed.
Yeah.
The exact numbers, I don't believe have been released, but there are rumors that they made him an offer of $33 million per year, and he hasn't agreed to that yet, which
Insane.
I'm at that point, just sign the contract.
Because if it was 4 years, then what is that? $8 million off of the highest paid
exactly
annual salary for a wide receiver.
He wants, I don't know if he wants to be the highest paid, and they're just we can get you just under that. I'm sorry, are you not happy about that? You're $25 or $25.
That's more our salary.
You have $7 in your bank account. Be thankful. I mean, he's 25 years old, making $33 million a year.
That's
relax.
I know. That's crazy.
That's so much money. And like, obviously
It's
they have
a
short
lot.
careers, but it's like, come on, just take the money.
At the end of the day, all of these guys are getting paid more than anybody will in their entire lifetime, right? Like,
and he's like, no,
they
you need to
are
raise
the
that
one
another $2 million per year.
percenters of America.
They are.
Also, they're athletes, you know, and they are competing. They want to be the number one guy. So a lot of this is also just ego, in my opinion, which, like, no fault to them. They're athletes and they're in their position. They're stars on their team for a reason. And like that kind of mentality is kind of just bleeding into the business part. And it makes sense. On one hand, take care of your family, take care of yourself, stand on business. On the other hand, I'm like, $10 million when you're going to get paid like over $100 million. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you even notice that money?
Yeah.
I wonder if they have like agents in their ears too, being like, no, like my client is walking for any less than 35.
Yeah.
Which is their job too. So,
Yeah.
so they get paid the big bucks.
I feel like when you're people like CeeDee Lamb and this next person I'm going to be talking about, you can kind of stand your ground.
Yeah. Iconic. But
Totally.
we are heading towards the countdown of their actual regular season, which is going to be opening day against the Browns on September 8th. So we should have answers in the next few weeks.
Very soon.
Very exciting.
Oh my gosh.
I also says their next preseason game is against the Chargers. The Chargers are going there. And if he wants to do us all a favor and not sign before then, I'm fine.
Oh my
I know
gosh.
it's preseason. I know it doesn't count, but like,
Yeah.
we'll be good with him off the field.
And Herbert isn't playing, right?
Yeah. So am I even going to watch? Maybe not. But I just like, I don't know. I like my boys to have all the good vibes they can. So
Totally.
just wait.
Totally.
Get a little more mill and then you can sign when you're ready to go against the Browns.
Sign on the dotted line.
That's my boy.
Nice. All right. Well, we have one more person to talk about, and this is someone that's very near and dear to my heart. He goes by the chosen one, Uno. He's the mac and cheese to Joe Burrow's cheese. The mac to Joe Burrow's cheese is what I meant to say. And it's funny because it's Jamar Chase. He's the wide receiver. He's number one, and he's wide receiver one. He is the starting position outside of T. Higgins. But something that's really interesting before I talk about his contract is last season, there was a little saying that he put out on social media, speaking of our Gen Zers, and he was outside of a 7-Eleven and he just said, "I'm always open," just like 7-Eleven. And then he got this big
iconic,
brand deal and it was amazing. So
That's
if you
so
see
good.
me outside wearing a 7-Eleven hat this season, that is why. That is the context. It's not just for funsies. Like, I'm repping my guy, Jamar Chase. So just to give you a little bit of background on Jamar, he has so many accolades. I can't even count. He's entering his fourth year of his rookie contract. He was drafted by the Bengals. In 2021, and he was
third
fifth.
year or fourth year?
Entering his fourth year.
Oh, got it.
Yes.
He still has time left on his contract.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
more
what
than the other
also
two
makes
guys.
this even more dicey compared to the other guys that we were talking about is he has 2 more years technically left on his contract. Typically, most wide receivers that are kind of renegotiating, they only have 1 year left on their contract. So there's a lot of mystery around this one because it's like, why are you starting these conversations so early?
Yeah.
Technically, he can. I think it was at the end of the 2023 season is when he can put in to request for renegotiation on his contract. But he's getting paid a little bit more than Brandon Aiyuk on his rookie contract because he was picked overall number 5 in 2021. So his rookie contract looks like this: 4 years, $38 million, a little bit higher because again, he was drafted higher in that rookie class. But when we're looking year by year, it looks like his overall contract was about $7.7 million. And as he enters this 4th year, he's going to be getting paid $9.8 million. Now, taking a back seat, or kind of putting myself into Jamar's shoes, he's looking at guys like CeeDee Lamb,
Yeah.
like Brandon Aiyuk, like Justin Jefferson, who was his former teammate, actually get paid already.
Yeah, give me that money.
And in his 4th year, he's going to be getting paid, $9.8 million.
Okay, I'm sorry. Are you broke? Embarrassing.
So, I mean, in a sense, he's not wrong for doing this. And if he were to keep his current contract, in the 2025-2026 season, which would be his 5th season, he'd be getting paid $28 million, which is still far below what that wide receiver market is looking like. So again, he's not wrong for doing this. He has a similar approach to Brandon Aiyuk, where he's going to practices. He flew to Chicago to watch the preseason game. He obviously didn't pay, so he can avoid some of those fines. But I mean, to just like hype him up a little bit more, he also took the Bengals to the Super Bowl in his first year. He was Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2021. So he's broken many Bengals records. And something that kind of goes into that 5th year option and how much that player gets paid is, obviously we've talked about performance, but it's the amount of times they are, the amount of Pro Bowl appearances. I'm sure that when you take the team to a Super Bowl, I'm sure that has something to do with it. So right now, I think of all of the players, Jamar Chase probably has the most leverage because he has accomplished so much in just three years already. And we expect him to be that key component for the Bengals again this year. He also knows without him, yes, we have our boy Joe Burrow, but and we have a lot of good players offensively, but without that connection with Joe Burrow and Jamar, they aren't going to the Super Bowl. And I think that's what he's realizing. He's realizing his worth. Know your worth.
Know your worth, King.
And he's not putting his foot down on it. There are some rumors that I think it was Ocho Cinco, who was a previous wide receiver for the Bengals, and now he's on a lot of networks and he does a lot of interviews. He has his own podcast now. He's obviously still very tight with all of the Bengals, and he was like, Jamar isn't stepping foot on the field until he gets his contract renegotiated.
Oh, he's cheering for him.
Yeah, he's cheering for him. So it's scary because, I mean, it's not really often that players are going to hold out as you enter into the regular season. But for somebody like Jamar, who I think is very financially motivated to be in this game, I wouldn't completely rule that out. And that I think is scary. I think overall, it's a little bit of a mixed bag in terms of how fans are feeling. At first, I feel like they weren't worried. And I think the one thing to call out here is that their owner, the Bengals owner, Mike Brown, is notoriously known for being a little cheap, but he's always made a claim to fame that they're going to pay Jamar. They're going to pay Jamar. They've said that, and he's made it known that his timeline is waiting until next year. In my head, I'm like, that kind of works out for him because the NFL's salary cap per team is probably going to be higher again. But he wants his money and he wants it now.
He wants his money now.
So, you know, the head coach was asked how this whole situation is going. He says they're taking it day by day. Anything
really
could happen. Ocho Cinco said that they could have a contract signed this week, which I think is kind of rumors. Who knows? He's a lot closer to it than I am. But again, just like all of us, we're going to take it day by day with Jamar.
I feel like it's been a very interesting offseason for Bengals fans and the wide receivers, knowing that we started off the offseason with T. Higgins getting hit with the franchise tag and then not being happy about that. And I feel like at the time, at least from an outsider, not, you know, a Bengals fan through you, I'm like, okay, well, that is obviously them saying that like Jamar Chase is our priority in terms of a wide receiver. T. Higgins, we want you, but ultimately we're not going to pay you as much as this guy.
Yeah.
And now the fact that even Jamar Chase is like, not good enough for me, you guys need to pay me now. It's interesting that they've managed to make both of them a little bit mad. Yeah. Because the Bengals would look so different if both of those guys weren't on the team. Not that that's going to happen. I'm going to take that back right now. Don't get mad. It's like,
I think that the front office, aka Mike Brown, they need to pay up their stars.
Yeah,
and they
give us
need
all
to
your
stop
money.
holding out. But I do think that once that contract is signed, it's going to be a really lucrative deal. People suspect that it can be similar to Justin Jefferson's over 4 years, over 100 million. I think that someone projected that it could be 144 million over a 4-year over a 4-year extension. So again, that's just speculation. But he could be one of the highest paid because he also, again, is on a Super Bowl contending team. They've gone to the Super Bowl. Of course, they lost, sadly, to the Rams. I'll never forget that day. But lots to look forward to, and fingers crossed on our boy Jamar.
Yeah, get that money, King.
Please.
I love a message on men knowing their worth is what the podcast was all about today.
Haven't they always?
I mean, to be fair, no one needed the encouragement. Men will do anything but not know their worth. I
need to be like that in work.
The way that I'm pay me whatever. I'm sorry for being here. I'm sorry that I'm taking up space.
After seeing all of these guys just really they're not practicing, maybe I do that.
They're
next time
such
I ask
little
for a
divas.
Promotion. You know what? I'm
Just
not coming
not
in
work.
today.
Well, you're going to come in, but you're not going to work.
Yeah.
Because they can fire you if you don't come in. But I'm at my desk.
I'm here.
I'm here. I'm returning to office 4 days a week.
Yes.
Just not
My
working.
badge swipe report is showing 4.
It is showing that I'm here.
Yeah.
Am I contributing? No.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I also just wonder, I guess it is common enough place in the NFL that enough people are doing this, but is that not so awkward? You're flying with the team all the way out to Chicago and everyone knows you're not playing. You're just kind of hanging out on the sidelines.
I know.
They know there's this tension with you're asking for more money. They're saying not right now. And you're saying, no, it has to be right now. I just feel oh my God, you could cut that tension with a knife.
Totally. And I do feel there's some players out there previously or historically that have gotten paid and they end up not being as good as they were before.
It's so awkward. But
And,
again, men couldn't care less.
I know.
They're
They
no,
really
I'm still
don't. They're
worth that
oh,
much.
I'm getting paid. Yeah. I told Pete that because we were talking about Daniel Jones. I'm oh my gosh, I feel so bad for him because he's not doing good. He's I don't feel bad. He's getting paid
so much money. Yeah.
I'm our brains aren't the same.
No, I know. I think the
I would
same
be
way as you
so-
is I'm
yeah.
just embarrassed for him and I feel bad.
I'd be take some of my money back because I'm not worth
hey guys, I'm not producing the way that you thought I would. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and demote myself if you don't mind.
Yeah. That would make me feel better personally.
Yeah. I'm just I'll take up less space here actually. Don't
Yeah.
even worry about me. I'll start paying for my own lunch. I won't even do my expenses. I'll take on the fees for the client dinners. But yeah, men do need to be humbled at all times. These men, not humble. The GMs are trying to humble them and they're saying, no,
Yeah.
no, thank you. Give me my money. Give me my 35 mil. Give me my money.
But honestly, props to them. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Somebody's got to do it.
Someone's gotta. Maybe we'll learn a little something from them.
Exactly. I'm taking notes.
Yeah. Hey, if you guys,
took notes.
Jason and Nikki, if you're listening and you see us at work negotiating our contracts, this is why.
If you see a calendar invite on this Friday, just know this
Give
is what
me a
it's
raise
for.
now. Amazing. Well, this was a fun episode. I love covering the men that aren't, the quarterbacks. So it's easy to talk about the quarterbacks all week long. But these are obviously huge playmakers. They are so important to their teams and they are causing so much drama on and off the field. So we love it. We have one more episode before NFL regular season starts, which is so crazy. It's so soon. When we started this podcast back in February, I was oh my gosh, we have so much time to figure out how to be podcasters before the regular season starts. I don't know if we figured it out yet.
Flew by.
But
we're doing our best.
So once the regular season starts, we're going to be covering, there's going to be so much happening. There's going to be so many news stories, just, the different rivalries, who's winning, who's losing, who's getting injured, who's showing up to the games, who are the new wags, who are the outfits, what are the outfits? There's going to be so much to talk about. So we really do have just one more episode before that. And we wanted to turn it over to the Fumblers to ask you guys what would be most fun for us to talk about. So we're going to be putting out a poll on our Instagram stories. Noelle had the good idea of doing fan engagement.
Woo!
So we're excited to hear from you guys. We'll give you some options. I think maybe around fantasy, around off season, like what are they doing in their personal lives? Maybe just getting us excited for some rivalries.
Yeah.
Whatever you guys want to talk about, we want to make sure we cover it before the season gets crazy. So be on the lookout for that. And we can't wait to get into it.
Nailed it.
Your wish is our command, Fumblers.
We can't wait to see what you guys come up with.
Yay. So look out for that. And we're excited to talk to you guys next week.
All right. See you next time.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.